This is something I often draw to illustrate to people the difference between a defined versus an empirical process, with the empirical process being what Agile or Scrum is all about. I start by making a simple drawing of what the defined process is. And it's starting with, some raw materials or a bunch of parts, running them through your process, and ending with your final product. And that works very well for something like assembling parts. You know how many parts you have, you know how long it takes to make a finished product with those parts, so you can plan that very well. The problem comes when trying to apply this to a creative endeavor like software development. Rarely can you start with all your requirements and end with all your requirements met and consider that a successful project. Rather, software requires you to take a plan to learn attitude, and the best way to manage a project like that is through an empirical process. And I illustrate that by saying, if we're going to run this software project as an empirical process, we need to start with a vision or a goal and some high priority requirements. And end with the goal met, but how we get there may be quite different. Because we're planning to learn, the way we get there isn't necessarily known like it is when you're just assembling parts. The true thing though is that we will meet the goal, and oftentimes that goal may be different than the original goal you set out to, but you were able to adapt and take the feedback that you got as you were developing and incorporate that into the process. Generals or armies have many quotes that kind of also illustrate this. A famous German field marshal has said that no plan ever survives first contact with the enemy, and that's true for a software project as well. Eisenhower's been famously quoted as saying, "Plans are useless, but planning is indispensable." And that really is what Agile is all about. It's based on this continuous planning. So this is just something that I draw for people. Most people get it right away, that even the most emphatic planners realize that, hey, this empirical thing, there might be something to it, and it kind of softens them up to try Agile. So if you might be able to use this sometime to illustrate the difference between defined and empirical. Thanks for watching another episode of the Agile Whiteboard.